Hi and welcome to the Resources Roadhouse. I'm Wally Graham, and joining me today is Chris Daws from Estrella Resources. Now, Chris, we caught up at the RIU Sydney conference recently. We were talking about your drilling campaign out at your Carr Boyd project, which is just outside of Kalgoorlie. Before we get into the drilling and what's going on there, can you just give us a bit of an idea about where the project sort of is? It's just outside of Kalgoorlie, isn't it?
Carr Boyd Rocks is a historic Western Mining Corporation mine. It's located about 80 kilometres to the northeast of the city of Kalgoorlie-Boulder. So it is well located. It's just north of the Silver Swan processing facility, about 30 kilometres to our south. And obviously in that Kambalda nickel district, Kambalda nickel smelter area, that I think if we found something of some size or some worth, then certainly there's a home for the ore, or potentially obviously, if it's big enough, we'll build our own infrastructure out there to process our own ore. But it's in the great neighbourhood, close to infrastructure, close to suppliers, and obviously drill rigs, etc., are nearby. So, awesomely located. It's a 50-minute flight from Perth, landing in the city of Kalgoorlie-Boulder, and it's an hour and a bit drive out to our campsite, which we've now established on site.
All right. Well, obviously, it is in a pretty good nickel area because you had some drilling success there late last year with the discovery of the T5 prospect out there. And when we spoke, you were just in the process of going out and following up that drilling with a new campaign. And last week you released an announcement from that. So, yeah, just give us a bit of an update about what's been going on.
Yeah, thanks, Wally. Look, we did talk in Sydney about phase 3, and look, ever since our discovery in October, things have amped up quite considerably. We've obviously amped up the facilities out at site, but also the team, the geological team, to help us with the drill programs. We haven't stopped drilling since October. In our phase 3, the initial hole that I think we discussed in Sydney hit some 16 metres of mineralisation to the north of hole 30. We're testing a section probably 20 to 30 metres north in an EM plate that was defined off hole 30. We have subsequently done a number of wedge holes on that section. Those holes have both intersected significant sulphides, upwards of 48, 49 metres of sulphide. Not the glorious massive sulphide we saw in hole 30, which is obviously what we're hunting for and what's carrying the grade, and high grade at that. But last Thursday, we did announce that we had drilled hole 48. Now, there is some people saying, well, hang on, 48, you're at hole 53. That's because we've got 2 rigs operating on site at the moment. We've already given hole identities to 1 rig, and they're coming up to drilling up to hole 52. So those 49, 50, 51, 52 are all RC pre-collars on the south side of 30. And the very first hole that we actually drilled on the south side of hole 30 into the EM plate, we've intersected a zone of 12.9 metres of sulphides, including massive sulphides, about 40 metres south of the section of hole 30. So extremely important moment for us. It's the first time we've intersected massive sulphides outside of hole 30. We always thought we would find some more massive sulphide. And I think from here, the strike rate has been in phase 3 100%. The EM plate obviously does represent a sulphide nickel copper accumulation. The question is, well, how large can this thing get? How thick are the intersections going to get? I don't think hole 30 will be our best hole. We'll continue to drill and seek the extent of it, but at the moment the EM response is unconstrained. It's still some 100 metres in aerial size that we have not closed out yet. We'll continue to put the holes down. We'll continue to EM and expand on that. We only see this getting bigger from here, not smaller, and we'll continue to hit that plate. And I fully expect we'll continue to hit nickel sulphides, and hopefully that magical high-grade massive nickel sulphide. And again, I think we'll see some joy in the marketplace for our shareholders in due course.
All right. Well, it doesn't really matter what sort of a numbering system you put on the drill rigs, as long as it hits the right material when it goes down there. I suppose that's the main thing, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And look, we are continuing to evolve targets and drill holes, and it's going to need a concerted effort from here. Will we expand the drill rigs and drill crews? Well, we hope to. We hope to. It's got to be financed. We're looking obviously at a fairly significant financing pathway from here to the end of June 27. We've got some $11 million worth of options out there. Some of those are being exercised as we speak. There is money rolling into the company. We have emailed and sent letters to our shareholders for that financial support. I think we'll get that. I think it's coming. We're seeing it. The directors are exercising options. We're very confident in what we're doing. We know what Carr Boyd could represent. It could represent a world-class ore body out there. We just need time and money and the drilling and the smarts to actually unlock this thing. And we're slowly doing it. It hasn't been overnight success, but we're slowly ticking the boxes. And I think it won't be before too long that our shareholders can really look back and say, well, wow, they did a great job. Aren't we lucky that we've got such a great project? Because I can tell you, these things are extremely rare. You can count on your hand the number of mineralised nickel sulphide, copper sulphide intrusions there are in Australia. You can count them on the one hand at the moment of the companies that are actually drilling them. And we're fortunate enough that we own one 100%, and we're one of those companies. So we're extremely pleased with what we've got out at Carr Boyd, and we'll continue the hunt. And I think before too long, I'm hoping that the drill holes will turn up something pretty special.
Well, I suppose we probably, hopefully, we won't have to wait too much longer for a bit more news from the drilling that's going on out there. Anything else on the periphery out there at the project? Anything else to sort of, spark a bit of interest?
Yeah, look, there has been a little bit of interest. In fact, whilst we were in Sydney, there was a release by Great Boulder on our southern boundary, and they've been out there toiling for some time on the gold front. What's become evident is that they've been quite successful in defining some fairly significant gold mineralisation on their Arsenal trend at a prospect called Blue Poles, which is not that far from Estrella's southern boundary. We've got some 15 kilometres of that Arsenal trend that tracks up from our southern boundary right up through on the eastern side of our tenure. So we are keeping a watching brief on that. That's something that, although not our focus, it could be valuable to our shareholders. Our focus is absolutely on the unlocking the potential, nickel sulphide potential at Carr Boyd rocks. And hence we're not going to get obviously too distracted in that and spend too much money and efforts there, but we are keeping a watching brief on it. Could be valuable for the shareholders. So watching it very, very closely.
All right, Chris. Well, that sounds like there's quite a bit happening there at Carr Boyd for Estrella. And as I said, we'll be waiting for hearing a bit more noise. But until then, thanks once again for being part of the Resources Roadhouse.
Thanks, Wally. My pleasure. Always a pleasure. And thanks to the shareholders for their support and continuing support. Look forward to seeing what comes out of the drill bit next. Thanks.